Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and the moon is gone. No silver glow in the night sky, no familiar companions circling our planet. But the moon is far more than a beautiful sight. For billions of years, it has stabilized the Earth, controlled our tides, and set the rhythm of life itself. Without it, our planet would quickly descend into chaos. Oceans, climate, wildlife, even humans would feel the effects almost immediately. Earth, as we know it, would never be the same again. In this video, we'll explore step by step what would really happen if the moon suddenly disappeared. From the collapse of the tides, to the destabilization of our climate, to the future of human civilization, and why our fate is more deeply tied to the moon than most people ever realize. One of the first and most visible consequences of losing the moon would be the tides. Today, the moon is the main driver of Earth's tides. Its gravity pulls on the oceans, creating high and low tides twice a day. If the moon suddenly vanished, tides would still exist, but only the weaker ones caused by the sun. These would be just about 1/3 as strong as what we're used to. For nature, this would be a shock. Coastal ecosystems that depend on strong tides, like tidal flats, coral reefs, and mangroves, would collapse in a matter of years. Countless species, from tiny crabs to large fish, rely on tides as signals for feeding and reproduction. Without the moon, that natural clock would simply disappear. Humans would also feel the impact. Ports and coastal regions that have lived with tides for millennia would face massive disruption. Entire industries, from fishing to shipping, would be forced to adapt. The loss of the tides wouldn't just be an ecological disaster. It would shake the very foundations of human civilization along the coasts. Even more dramatic would be the effects on Earth's motion itself. For billions of years, the moon has stabilized the tilt of our planet. Without it, Earth would literally start to wobble. Right now, the axis of the Earth is tilted about 23.5 degrees, which gives us our seasons. But the moon acts like a cosmic counterweight. Its gravity prevents the axis from swinging wildly. If the moon were gone, Earth's tilt could shift chaotically between 10 and 45 degrees, changing over thousands of years in unpredictable cycles. The result? Extreme and unstable climates. Regions that are temperate today could freeze into ice, while others might suddenly turn tropical. Earth's rotation would also be affected. At the moment, the moon's gravity slowly slows down Earth's spin, making our days a little longer every century. Without that braking effect, days would stop lengthening, but the missing stabilizer would leave the climate in turmoil. The outcome? A planet where seasons are longer, harsher, and wildly irregular. Agriculture would become unpredictable, and human civilization would struggle to adapt to an Earth in constant chaos. The moon doesn't just shape physics, it has influenced life itself. Many animals rely on the moon's rhythm. Sea turtles, for example, lay their eggs according to lunar cycles. Some fish migrate based on moonlight. And nocturnal predators use the brightness of a full moon to hunt. Without the moon, all of these natural timekeepers would vanish. Entire ecosystems could unravel as food chains collapse. Plants would also feel the change. Certain species respond to the faint light of the moon at night. With that light gone, nights would be darker worldwide, altering growth patterns in subtle but significant ways. Humans too would be affected. For thousands of years, cultures have used the moon to measure time, mark calendars, and celebrate rituals. And biologically, studies show that the moon can even influence our sleep. On nights with a full moon, people take longer to fall asleep and sleep less deeply. Without this familiar cycle, we would be left in a deeper darkness, with consequences for health and mental well-being. The disappearance of the moon wouldn't just be a physical problem. It would disrupt the intricate web of life, from the smallest creatures to humanity itself. The disappearance of the moon would bring catastrophic consequences for human civilization. First, agriculture. Without stable seasons and with unpredictable climates, farming cycles would collapse. Regions that feed the world today could become barren through sudden freezes or heat waves. The risk of droughts and failed harvests would skyrocket, leading to widespread famine. Extreme weather would also become more common. With Earth's axis shifting and the balance of oceans and atmosphere disrupted, storms would grow more frequent and more violent. Coastal areas, already destabilized by the loss of tides, would be especially vulnerable. Major cities near the ocean could become uninhabitable. Infrastructure would be hit as well. ports that depend on predictable tides could no longer operate efficiently. Since over 80% of world trade moves by sea, global commerce would grind to a halt. Millions of people would lose their livelihoods. And then there's the cultural dimension. For millennia, the moon has been a guide, a marker in myths, religions, and calendars. Its disappearance would leave not just a scientific gap, but also a cultural and spiritual void. In short, without the moon, humanity would face a chain reaction of ecological, economic, and cultural disasters. This scenario would reach far beyond physics. It would threaten the very fabric of civilization. The moon has always been more than just a celestial body. For decades, it has been humanity's closest space partner. In the 1960s, it became the target of the Apollo missions. Without the moon, many of the technologies we take for granted today, from rocket systems to life support technology, might never have been developed so early. And in the future, the moon is just as important. NASA's Artemis program is planning to place astronauts on the moon permanently as a training ground for missions to Mars. Without the moon, humanity would lose its nearest stepping stone to the wider universe. Astronomy would change too. The bright light of the moon, which often hides parts of the night sky, would be gone. We could see the stars more clearly, but we would lose centuries of observations, from eclipses to lunar cycles. And then culture. The moon has inspired poets, painters, and musicians for thousands of years. From gods and myths to modern pop culture, it is deeply woven into our collective imagination. Its disappearance would leave an emptiness not only in science, but in our very identity as a species. We often take the moon for granted. Night after night, it follows us across the sky, and many barely notice it anymore. But without it, Earth would become an entirely different planet, unstable, chaotic, and hostile to life. We've seen how tides would collapse, wiping out entire coastal ecosystems. How Earth's axis would begin to wobble, throwing seasons and climate into disorder. How animals, plants, and even humans would lose their natural rhythms. And how our cities, agriculture, and economies, everything we've built over thousands of years, could collapse. Beyond science, we would lose a partner that has shaped space exploration, inspired our cultures, and even fueled our dreams. The moon is far more than a bright circle in the sky. It is a stabilizer, a timekeeper, and a silent companion that has helped make Earth habitable. Perhaps the next time we see it shining above, we should pause and appreciate it more deeply, because without it, our world would not be the same. The question remains, could humanity survive without the moon? Or would our civilization inevitably fall apart?